What do you do when the market starts moving fast and your plan suddenly feels optional? That question matters because many trading mistakes do not begin with a lack of market knowledge. They begin when a trader faces pressure in real time and starts changing decisions under fear, greed, FOMO, or frustration. Pre-commitment rules are one way to reduce that problem. The basic idea is simple. Decide certain things before the market moves, so fewer choices are left to emotion when it does. Pre-commitment is not the same as telling yourself, "I'll be disciplined today." Self-control is a promise you make to yourself in the moment. Pre-commitment is a design choice you make in advance. It builds guardrails around future decisions. In trading, those guardrails might include predefined entry conditions, position size limits, exit rules, and clear no-trade scenarios. Entry conditions means the specific features a setup must have before you are allowed to take a trade. Position size means how large the trade is relative to your account or risk limits. Exit rules define when you get out, whether the trade is working or not. No-trade scenarios define conditions where doing nothing is part of the plan. Why does this help? Because markets create heat. In price moves quickly, the brain often stops asking, "Does this match my process?" and starts asking, "How do I avoid missing this?" or "How do I get my money back?" Pre-commitment tries to move important decisions out of that emotional environment and into a calmer one. This does not remove uncertainty. It does not make a trade correct. It does not prevent losses. It simply tries to improve decision hygiene. Decision hygiene means making choices through a cleaner process, with fewer impulsive changes and fewer emotional shortcuts. A bad outcome can still happen even if the process was followed, and a good outcome can happen after a reckless decision. Pre-commitment is about process quality, not guaranteed results. A useful way to think about it is that pre-commitment reduces degrees of freedom. If every trade is open to last-second reinterpretation, then almost any emotional impulse can disguise itself as flexibility. But if the rules are already written, the trader has less room to rationalize. Hypothetical example. Imagine a trader who tends to chase movement after seeing a sudden breakout. They notice that when they enter late, they often do so out of FOMO, which means fear of missing out. To reduce that behavior, they write a rule before the session. Only take a breakout if it meets specific conditions they have already defined in their own process. And if those conditions are not present, no trade. They also decide that after a losing streak, their next position size will be capped at a smaller amount to reduce revenge trading, which is the urge to win back losses quickly. Now notice what this does. In the moment, the trader is no longer asking, "Do I feel confident enough?" They are asking, "Did my written conditions appear?" That shift matters. It turns a heated emotional decision into a checklist decision. The checklist may still be imperfect. The market may still reverse, but fewer decisions are being improvised under pressure. Exit rules work the same way. Without pre-commitment, a trader may hold a losing position longer, because loss aversion makes taking the loss feel painful. Loss aversion means losses often feel more emotionally intense than equivalent gains feel rewarding. Or, the trader may grab a small profit too early because they fear the market will take it back. A predefined exit framework can reduce both reactions by deciding in advance how the trade will be managed. No-trade scenarios are especially important because impulse often appears as forced participation. Some traders feel they must always be involved, but choosing not to trade can be a valid rule, not a failure of courage. A no-trade rule might apply when a setup is unclear, when the trader is distracted, or when conditions fall outside the method they are trying to follow. The exact rule depends on the trader's market, time frame, and process, so it is not universal. It is also important to compare pre-commitment with simple flexibility. Flexibility sounds attractive because markets do change, and that is true. Rigid rules can become a problem if conditions shift and the rules no longer fit the environment. So the trade-off is real. Clearer rules may reduce impulse, but they can also reduce adaptability. That is why pre-commitment works best as a structured process, reviewed outside the heat of the moment, rather than as a frozen script that never evolves. And there are failure modes. Vague rules fail because they leave too much room for interpretation. Unrealistic rules fail because they demand perfect emotional control. Ignored rules fail because writing them down is not the same as respecting them. A trader can still break their process when fear, greed, overconfidence, or revenge trading becomes strong enough. Pre-commitment is not a cure for emotion. It is a way to make emotion less powerful in specific decision points. The practical takeaway is this: if you want fewer impulsive trading decisions, do not rely only on willpower. Move as many key choices as possible into a written process made before pressure rises. Define what qualifies a trade, how much size is allowed, how exits are handled, and when no trade is the correct action. Then review whether those rules are clear, realistic, and actually followed. Pre-commitment will not remove uncertainty, and it will not protect you from every mistake or loss. But it may help separate planned decisions from emotional reactions. And in trading, that difference can matter a lot.